A diver had just reached the surface, but the moment he removed his oxygen mask, he realized he couldn't breathe. Not even a sound could come out of his throat. Panicked, he quickly put the mask back on, and instantly he could breathe again. At first, he thought it was just a hallucination from diving too deep, so he tried removing the mask again. But the same terrifying suffocation hit him. It felt like all the air around him had completely disappeared. Only after taking another deep breath through the oxygen tank did he calm down. This unexplainable situation left him completely helpless. Even worse, his girlfriend, waiting in the car, was already dead. He had no choice but to accept the reality. There was no oxygen left in the air. With no time to grieve, he said a quick goodbye. Then, carrying a few oxygen tanks, he set out to find other survivors. But along the way, there was no sound, no people. The entire world was silent and lifeless. Even the sight of a dead animal made things feel more hopeless. Then suddenly, he saw a house. Clothes were hanging outside, still dripping with water. Someone had been there recently. Carefully, he pushed the door open. Inside, a radio was playing cheerful music. In the back room, a woman sat crying. When she saw him, she became tense. He raised his hands first to show he meant no harm. Seeing the elderly woman in her arms, he immediately understood. She had just lost someone close. Since he couldn't speak, he used gestures to comfort her. She touched her throat, asking what was happening. He shook his head. He didn't know either. Then he gestured for her to come with him to search for hope. The woman understood. She looked at his outstretched hand, then at her dead mother. After gently touching her hair one last time, she finally took his hand. They loaded their oxygen tanks into a car. But the man kept glancing at her oxygen supply, then at his own. Silently, he prayed the worst wouldn't happen. The woman drove, and together they traveled through empty, desolate roads. They stopped at the only supermarket in town, hoping to find oxygen. But there was nothing, except dead employees. Not a single tank. The woman tried calling for help again and again, but no one answered. With no other choice, they kept moving. Even as the sun set, no rescue ever came. And now, their oxygen was running out. Just when all hope seemed lost, fireworks suddenly lit up the sky. For a moment, they believed someone was still alive. They followed the direction of the fireworks until they reached a villa. But what they saw left them frozen. The fireworks had been set on a timer. Inside the house, everyone was already dead. Only soft music continued to play on repeat. At that moment, their fate was sealed. The woman in despair took off her coat and embraced the man. Before death arrived, they shared one last dance. Soon, the man's oxygen tank alarm went off. He quickly switched to his last tank. At the same time, the woman realized her oxygen was almost gone too. Terrified, she looked at him, asking what to do. But he simply shrugged. There was nothing he could do. Driven by the instinct to survive, she lunged for his oxygen. They began fighting, desperate to live even a little longer. With her physical advantage, she pushed him to the ground. At that moment, his face twisted in pain. A sharp metal rod had pierced through his chest. As she watched him slowly die, she finally came back to her senses. If death was unavoidable, there was no point in struggling. She gently removed his goggles, then took off her own oxygen mask. Slowly, she leaned closer to him, and not long after, she stopped breathing too.